In this quick session, I will just summarize or give you a highlight of what we have actually done while actually understanding the dynamic response of our structures. So we started with the single degree of freedom systems. The simplest dynamic model of any structure can be just included with the mass and stiffness and a hypothetical dashboard representing the energy dissipation capacity of our system. So we studied the dynamics of this simple kind of a structure by formulating its equation of motion. We solved that equation for different kinds of the dynamic forces, starting from harmonic force, then we have the periodic force, and then we have the impulse force, and then finally the general dynamic force, which have no pattern in its variation. We also first calculated the free vibration response, which basically gave us the idea of the natural frequencies and other important related concepts which are governing the dynamic response of this system. This equation of motion was a second order ordinary differential equation, and we solve it for different kinds of applied forces. Then we move to the multiple degree of freedom systems. It is a more realistic dynamic model of structures. For example, in this figure you can see a 4-story shear building which is subjected to 4 different dynamic forces. So at any certain time instant, 4 variables x1 up to x4 are required to actually draw its deformed shape or its deformed configuration. So therefore it is a 4 degree of freedom system, and the dynamics of this system is governed by a 4 coupled equations of motion. So this is the equation of motion for this 4 degree of freedom system. This equation is coupled. The coupling term represents the interaction between dynamic equilibriums at different stories. For example, the third story, the force at third story, the contribution will be coming from both the third story as well as the fourth story. So the actions are coupled, and that coupling will be represented by off diagonal terms in the K matrix. So the K matrix will not have only diagonal values but off diagonal values also, and therefore the matrix equation have to be solved simultaneously. So there are different efficient techniques to calculate the solution which are available. One technique is using the idea of mode shapes, using the mode shape matrix as the transformation matrix to convert the solution from physical coordinates to modal coordinates. And in the modal coordinates, the equation of motion become uncoupled, and therefore we will be able to solve each of the modes equation separately by taking it out and solving it like a single degree of freedom system. The second method which we studied for the solution of this matrix coupled equation is the step-by-step direct integration method, and that is using the incremental form of the dynamic equation of motion, and that is directly you can say that can be automated in different programming languages to get directly the solution at each time step. Then we finally studied the distributed or continuous systems. It is the most realistic dynamic model of the structure. The inertia force, the elastic restoring force, and the damping force, they are all distributed, and they can be represented as a system with infinite degrees of freedom and infinite dynamic equilibrium equations. They are governed by the partial differential equations. For example, one is shown here. This is for the case of a cantilever column, and you can see here that EI is now the function of the spatial dimension S also. So S is the spatial dimension. So the applied force is not only the function of time but also the spatial dimension. So it is a continuous function which is fluctuating in time as well as in S dimension. Similarly, the mass and damping and the stiffness of the structure are also the function of spatial dimension. These equations are difficult to solve for very simple kind of structures with simple boundary conditions. For example, for beams, for strings or rods, the equation can be formulated simply and can be solved. But for complex structures, the equation is so complex that it may not be able to solve using the idea of distributed systems. So one possible solution for this is that we convert our distributed system, which is governed by partial differential equations, into an approximate finite element model. And that finite element model is basically represented by or solved by the matrix equations. These matrix equations are the coupled ordinary differential equations, and they are relatively easy to solve compared to the actual partial differential equations. So in this approach, a continuum body is represented by a finite element model where the motion in each element is simplified into few degrees of freedom. So if you have a very complex looking continuous structure, you just replace it or model it using some simple two-dimensional or three-dimensional elements or any geometry you can capture. So this is your continuous model, and this is your discrete model. Now discrete model will have some finite degrees of freedom, although it may not be able to actually represent with full accuracy this continuous structures, but it can sometimes be used to actually practically calculate the dynamic response within a reasonable degree of accuracy. So our target is to set up a realistic discrete model which should be able to capture the dynamic response with an accuracy which is acceptable. So if I summarize the modal analysis, basically the whole process for both of the systems, on left side I have the discrete structures. So this is for discrete, and on the right hand side we have the continuous structures. So first we have the equation of motion. These are the matrix equation of motion, and they are the ordinary differential equations. On the right hand side we have the continuous structure, which is the partial differential equation. Then in the discrete multiple degree of freedom systems, we basically carry out a linear transformation using the mode shape matrix. So basically we represent the actual x1, x2, x3. These are the physical displacements, the story displacements of a structure. We represent them as a contribution, or you can say summation of the contributions of different mode shapes. So this x of t vector, which is basically the vector containing all the story displacements in physical coordinates, it is approximately written as the phi matrix, the mode shape matrix times the y of t, which is basically in this case are the modal coordinates. Basically the phi matrix is representing the shapes, and y of t is the time distribution of those shapes, time variation. So y of t is the modal coordinates function of time. So the x of t vector is expanded as a contribution of different shapes which are being multiplied with their corresponding time functions, and then they are added. This is the basic idea of the modal analysis for free vibration response as well as for forced vibration response. The benefit of doing it is this, that when you write the equation of motion in modal coordinates, they are uncoupled. So all the off diagonal terms here and here, also off diagonal terms will become 0. So now you can just multiply these equations one by one to pick out one equation at a time and solve it in modal coordinates, and then using the same transformation bring the solution back to the original physical coordinates. So the concept of modal mass, the modal stiffness and modal damping and modal force also, they are introduced here, and then if these modal quantities are worked out using the phi vectors, then we can solve the solution or equations separately for each mode, and then take the solution back to the physical coordinates. The same idea which is in discrete multiple degree of freedom system is there also in the continuous systems. The difference is that now instead of having mode shape vectors, we are now having the mode shape functions. So if x of s comma t is the displacement function in physical coordinates, which is the function of both x axis as well as the time domain. Now it is expanded or is transformed in this manner that now it is equal to the mode shape times the modal amplitude, or the modal, you can say, coordinates. Now it is modal amplitude. So this is the same transformation, but now it is for the continuous structures and their mode shapes. And similar to the equation of motion in modal coordinates we have for discrete multiple degree of freedom systems, here also we have the same ideas or same concept for continuous structures. The summations are now replaced with the integral, and the mode shape vectors are now replaced with the mode shape functions. Similarly, the Story masses are now replaced with the mass distribution function m of x, and similarly the stiffness is also represented now by a variable EI value, and similarly a variable damping force and a variable the modal force. So using the idea of this linear transformation using mode shapes or mode shape functions, regardless of the structural complexity, we can always break down our system into a set of some equivalent single degree of freedom systems. So now this equation is an equation of a single degree of freedom system for any ith mode. Similarly, we can also write the equation of a single degree of freedom system for discrete multiple degree of freedom systems also. The difference will be that for discrete systems we will have finite number of equations, but for continuous structures we will have infinite degrees of freedom and infinite equations. But we can consider only first few modes and sum their solution, because the contribution of higher modes may be not that significant, and therefore the response can be calculated accurately by just including first few modes. So that's all about this lecture, and then I will see you in some next topic. And till then, stay safe and thank you.